Hello and welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today we have The Core.
Yes.
Every time. So, this one, we haven't done a video for a few weeks, and we tend to be talking more about action movies and stuff recently, although occasionally we'll veer off. This one I was going to kind of bring in an aspect of something to do with Demolition Man, because...
Damn it! I had a joke lined up and everything, and you had to jump the gun.
What was the joke?
I was just basically saying, I'm not allowed to swear in this one because I've run out of money. I've had another, sotto voce violation of the verbal morality clause.
Yeah, you can still make the joke, it's fine. But the point is, anyway, there's been some
I
stuff...
just fucking did!
Yeah,
oh, shit!
Well, it still works.
A loud beep off screen, damn it.
It still works. But yeah, so point is, anyway, there's been a news story and a lot of people have been talking about it. It was a Variety article, I think, where Disney were vocally wanting to bring back the male audience that they, by their own admission now, had alienated, and it cost them pretty bad. So we're going to talk a bit about that, but as I say, we wanted to mention Demolition Man because I remember very specifically, and it is relative. I do remember years ago, and this would have been 20-ish years ago, where me and you were watching Demolition Man, and I think we're having a bit of a sort of pseudo-intellectual debate about whether or not this is realistic in terms of a kind of authoritarian future, but not one run by, that's dictated by the jackboot, but by something a little bit more weaselly, as you see in that film, where very effeminate men, everybody's fat, everybody's effeminate. Well, not everybody's fat, but you know what I mean. Low testosterone kind of thing. And your argument was you could see this happening. And my argument was that's bullshit. It wouldn't work because you'd need to have it would be the strong man that would do it. Evidently, I owe you an apology because that's kind of where things were going. Maybe there was a bit of artistic license in that movie that was never really going to manifest into reality, but the basic theme of it, whether it's strong men create good times create weak men create hard times create strong men, and the cycle, or whether it's just this was a blip. I mean, you can argue that, but that kind of brings us on to this whole thing about masculinity, and how there is a bigger discussion to be had about an attack on masculinity. But from this point of view, Disney, how the role that they played in that in terms of the brainwashing aspect and the outright rejection of the male lead and the masculine hero. And you can laugh it off and say, well, these are just movies. Anyone interested in that is just a man baby. Well, it's like, well, no. I mean, these are modern day myths and legends. You know, these are your stories that kind of, well, when the big stories, when they really touch upon something like, for example, Star Wars or Rocky or anything like that, it does kind of leave a fingerprint in history that will be around for a long time. We can't say that about the latest movies that Disney have been putting out, because
it leaves a fingerprint that'll be there for a long time. Kind of like when you lend Toe for a copy of Brotherhood of the Wolf, his fingerprints stay around on that disc for a long time.
And the audience know exactly what you're referring to there, but it's still funny, even though they don't. So, yeah, point is, anyway, there's so many things that you can say about this. It's kind of hilarious, and it's too little, too late. And I'll let you chip in anyway. Anything you want to say at this point about this?
Well, it's kind of, I'd almost say it's like irrelevant to just films. It's like everything's like this. Like, if you've got an established audience for something, like the audience is going to show up for it unless you've like pissed them off in some way. And you're unlikely to get an audience like massively outside that unless it's by really good word of mouth. Because they all often do this. They'll be like, let's just say like video games. You'd have like a really popular kind of like strategy franchise of tabletop, computer simulation type things like war games and all that. And then you'd dumb it down and dumb it down and dumb it down and dumb it down. And it's like, well, you've pissed off your original audience because this is way too simple. And there's no way you can dumb it down enough that the first person shooter crowd who are all playing Call of Duty are going to be like, fuck yes, sign me up for the boring, math strategy thing. And it's kind of the same premise here. It's like, I can remember talking to my sister years ago, and she was basically slagging off Bond films because she didn't like them. And it's like, you know what? You can put as many female leads in them as you like, and emasculate Bond as much as you want. You're never going to convince her to go and see a Bond film because she doesn't like the setup. She doesn't like the film. No part of it really appeals to her.
Yeah, that's something that they need to get right, because a lot of the time it's the same with my sister as well. I mean, Bond is like the ultimate target, isn't it? That's the one that they would love, and they tried with the last one. They got Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but luckily things happened and they kind of dialed it back a little bit. The impact that that her and her kind of clan were going to put on that film, that last film. This again,
I say I'm not even picking Bond particularly as a oh yeah, Bond's. It's just I can remember that just a very distinct conversation I can recall having, and it's just oh yeah, I always find it really boring when he's talking to Q with all the gadgets, and there's always this action scene and that action scene. And I just find it really boring. I'm not interested. It's fair enough. If that's how you feel about it, that's how you feel about it.
Yeah, well,
and no amount of changing up the thing is gonna convince them otherwise.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm making. Like I say, I know my sister was the same long time ago, talking about this, saying the same sort of stuff, and it's like, well, if they did win the prize and they got a female actress to play Jane Bond or whatever, they just kind of readapted it. It'd be weird as hell, but I'm sure they'd love to do that. They still wouldn't go see it, and that's the trick that they need to master. Because it's not that these women want to see. It's we just love James Bond. We want to go see it, but it's just got to have a female lead. That's not the argument. They want us to watch the female Bond on a number of levels. A, because they think we need it. B, because they want to spite us. That's the reason why they want to do that. But they have no intention really of actually going to see it, and that's the trick that they've kind of missed when they've done this. This like you said, dumbing down, this watering down of pre-existing content and trying to flip the script on it to appeal to a different audience. It does appeal to them, but only in concept. They're not in the actual execution of it. They're not going to go see it. One thing the last Bond film did get right was they kind of got the right balance in that. I know it pissed a lot of people off. I didn't mind it too much, the last film, but there were things about it pissed me off. But those things did actually appeal to a female audience. And I know plenty of girls that went to see that film that would never have done of any of the others. And there were things about that film that did appeal to them, and I understand that. So it can be done. You can kind of get both things, but I suppose it's that thing about if you chase two rabbits, you end up with neither. They're trying to do one thing have male not audience but IP, something that appeals to guys, but then market it to women. It's you've alienated all the men, and all the women don't want to go see it regardless of what you do. They might be happy that you've done it, so it pisses the men off. They're not actually going to go watch the film and pay for the ticket. So this is one of the things.
It's kind of like the stupid Charlie's Angels film. It's the last one's only really appealed to guys because it was a weird action film, and it was pretty girls that you'd kind of seen in other things. So, people kind of there for at least for the first film. And then they did this weird reboot thing of oh, well, this time we're aiming it for women. No women were asking for this. No women wanted this. No women went to see that. And no guys are going to go and show up for what's-her-face from freaking Twilight. What the hell?
And it was the same with that Bros film as well. They tried to say the reason that film didn't succeed was because of homophobia. So, well, no, women aren't really going to want to go see that necessarily. Well, to the same degree that they would a rom-com where it's just a normal heterosexual one anyway, and one that's done quite well. Because to be fair, there's some rom-coms. I've been forced to watch a few with ex-girlfriends and stuff, and some of them are actually competently made and quite good stories. It's not for me, but I can see they were quite well made films. But
yeah, well, I mean, it's the same thing of like, you're not going to get my sister to like want to go and see a Bond film. Maybe she'll watch a Bond film if it's on in front of her, and it's the exact same premise. It's like you're not going to go like, oh shit, the new like rom-coms out at the cinema, right? I need to go and see that right now.
but,
Like you might see it if somebody else really wanted to or something, or if there was something else about it.
yeah,
but there's no way you are going to seek that out as your primary kind of choice.
Yeah, but going back,
no amount of like changing it to appeal to you is
damn
going
it,
to like, make it do that.
Damn it, Car. I don't know if you can tell I'm like trying to finish my story, my point. It's the audio, it's not your fault, it's not you being rude. So yeah, go back to Bros, that was the point I was making. So with that, women aren't going to want to go see that because it's about men. It doesn't really appeal to them as such unless they want to just virtue signal and say how advanced they are watching a gay film. But men don't want to see it, gay or otherwise, because men, even gay men are still men, don't particularly like rom-coms. I mean, it's like, I'm a straight man. That doesn't mean I'm going to like the straight rom-coms, because that's for me. And it's the same with gays. Gays are going to like, well, I'm a gay man, so I'm going to what it's going to appeal to me. Doesn't work. We're still men at the end of the day. It will have an audience, but not the kind of thing that they were going for. So, you may now speak, Core.
Ooh, that Corey's a right bastard talking over me.
So yeah, no. Point we were saying as well, because the main thing with Marvel obviously was they bought, I think it was back in 2009, they bought Marvel. And I remember at the time, again, I owe you another apology in this one. I'm making a lot of apologies to the Core today, because at the time I was joking, because to me, DC was where it was at. We had like, I think we had The Dark Knight the year before, so this is 2009. Most of the Marvel movies were fucking embarrassing at that point. You had like some good X-Men entries, the Spider-Man films, again, competently made, but embarrassing. I won't go through the whole library of movies. There were some exceptions here and there, but generally DC was where it was at. And I was kind of joking because Disney, this thing that just makes things for children and females, not men, not us, were taking over Marvel. And I remember I think I might have put some on Facebook because it's still out there somewhere. I'm sure I've seen it in more recent years, thinking, fucking hell, what was that? I was a bit wrong there. Taking the piss at you, say, oh, this is the ultimate marriage. It's like baby Marvel with baby Disney, and they're like the two emerging. It's a perfect fusion. And in reality, after that, they did the MCU. We had some pretty damn good films, which took me by a lot of surprise as well, and I ate my words. And obviously, when they bought Star Wars a few years later, I mean, we talked about this in 2013. You can see this on the channel. We were very skeptical about the J.J. Abrams Disney Star Wars, although we kind of gave it a chance when the first one came out. But basically, they bought these things because they were trying to get a male audience, because Disney up to that point really was, the majority of it was for children and for girls. So to get us on board as well was a good idea. That was a good call, and they were making like pretty good films, at least as far as the Marvel films went. But for whatever reason, they just thought, bollocks to it. we're just gonna throw away the men that we quite,
I can hazard a guess as to exactly what the thought process there was. Namely, like, okay, we've got the guys, now we're going to get the girls as well, and we're going to double our audience, because the guys are going to stay, now we'll get name it at the women as well. And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't work that way, does it?
Yeah. Do you think there's an element of this that, to a degree, I mean, me and you weren't particularly like this, but maybe to a degree we were, that Disney saw these franchises that we liked, mainly Star Wars, and figured that you could just put Star Wars on anything and this audience will take it. So they thought, that's what we're going to do then. We're going to buy this franchise. We're going to put anything out there that we want. We're just going to label it as Star Wars. It turned out a lot of it was like propaganda and so on, and just bad storytelling and slop. And just brand it with Star Wars. And these guys will take it because that's what they've been doing like since forever. Do you think there's maybe an
I mean,
element of that?
there's definitely a lot of that. It's even been like more or less admitted in some things. Like, I mean, shit. Again, going back to video games as an example, but like basically there's like a mindset that like, oh well, like nerds that like Dungeons and Dragons or like other like RPG things will show up for any old slop. Like as long as there's an orc in there, they'll be happy. It's like, well, no, we still like a good game. Like, you know, you might think, oh, we're just all basement dwellers, we'll just show up for anything. It's like, no, you actually have to make a good game in this. Like, my thought process is never like, oh, there's a female lead in this film, I'm not going to watch it because of that. It's usually like, right, it's a female lead, this is going to be embarrassing, it's going to be poorly bloody made, it's going to be like really preachy, it's going to be a completely unlikable character, so I'm not going to watch it. Right. Like, there's no like politics in there. It's just like, right, this has become like a shorthand for this is going to be a bad movie.
Yeah. Well, this video's dragging on, so let me just pause it there. We'll come back in part 2. Bear with me one moment. Anyone watching this, cut back. We'll be back in part 2. So yeah, very sorry we're having to chop this video up into 2 parts. I'm a bit limited on some technical ground when it comes to rendering videos. So check back, part 2 is available now on the channel.